All right, so we took the rear end out of the car. What I plan to do here is just run the TIG welder down here for a root pass, and then we're gonna go back over it with a MIG welder and burn it in real hot to make sure that we get good penetration. This bracket's not gonna fall off. Now what I did do is I slid a bolt through here, as you can see, and I got one long enough that both brackets are on the shoulder here. I didn't want anything on the threads, as the threads are smaller than that shoulder. So that slid through, and then I put a spacer block here in the top with a pair of vice grips just to hold these so when we're going to weld, they don't start twisting like this and lose our spacing that we require. What's going on? All right, we're back. We got more to do on the Trans Am, and if you have a good eye, you're gonna notice the rear end is not in there. That's because we got it over here on the bench, flipped it all over, and welded it up as you saw in the last video. Tonight, what do we gotta go do? Well, we're gonna weld these reinforcement plates in here, and then on the outside, we're gonna put a subframe connector in that goes all the way down this pinch weld, all the way to the front, and we're gonna add some more bracing that comes over here to the frame rail, and then the same thing from this pinch weld over to the frame rail, and then all the way up this side to the opposite side of this plate we're gonna weld in. So that's tonight's goal. We'll grind all this stuff off here so we can weld these in and yeah, try and attach this thing from front to back. All right, so we bought these subframe connectors. God only knows where they're from. I have no idea, but they don't fit that great, imagine that. They already have a plate down here that goes on the bolt for the rear control arm, but they kind of bend and come up and go to this real small tubing or whatever. Yeah, it's not that great, but let's throw them up there in the car and show you what we're dealing with. And we're back. So last night, oh my goodness, that light is bright. And we are back. So last night, as you saw, we started welding up subframe connectors. And these are also from Spone Performance, the same people that made this awesome torque arm here. And they don't fit that great. I had to pull the pinch weld back on the sides to try and weld them. I welded in here because this is just a massive, massive hole. Same thing up here. They notched down to this smaller tube here for whatever reason. The factory muffler used to sit in this area, so I'm just gonna assume that's what it was. But again, didn't fit that great. This is the passenger side. And then over here on the driver's side, it wasn't too bad. Actually, the pinch weld here on the outside fit pretty well. So what we're going to do, just to stiffen it up a bit more, is I went ahead and welded these plates here on the side of the frame rail, and I'm gonna run one of our 1 1/4 inch tubes from here across, and then we're gonna do the same thing from the passenger side here over here. I might actually add another one up front and come up and kind of tilt it forward up into this guy. And then on this side, the same thing. Come from way up the front here and kind of bring it over into there. Now, I haven't quite decided if that is the route we're going to go yet. I'll get one tube up there and see kind of where we're at. I did go and get the inner reinforcement plates that I made put on here. That's welded all the way around. I ground them to a nice finish. So the back end of the subframes are done. The front end still needs a little bit of work. Now, what I am going to do also is customers here last night and made a couple more changes like he usually does. Now, when he goes to strap this thing down, there's nothing really to strap from. So we had talked about just putting like a little 90 of tubing like this, but now he wants to go basically an inch up off the axle right here, come up and then run straight across all the way over to here. And then now on this side where we have the panhard bar bracket, he wants to go from here to there, and then from there all the way through to the outside of this bracket. So it kind of looks symmetrical on both ends. So he was here, he was nice enough to go ahead and disassemble the whole rear end. So now we can go and get in from here and drill through these plates here to cut the tubing that's going to weld there and through. And then the same thing on this end, so we can go from here over to roughly where that hole is. So, lofty goal, but the plan tonight is get the tubes in there so their subframes are totally finished. Get the tubes on that axle, so that is totally finished. And then one more little thing is these plates here are kind of ugly. So you can see this black line, and I want to get those cut off right on that black line, so that we can get everything out for powder coat. Hopefully tonight, I'll get it done tonight. It can go first thing in the morning, and then he can have it done prior to Christmas, so we can get it back and put it together between Christmas and New Year. So this thing is rolling off the hoist and we can get onto this truck over here. So long story short, I don't have a ton of time tonight to be doing filming to get all this stuff done. So I'm just gonna jump back into it. I'm gonna start bending up some tube, and you know what? I think I'm just gonna bring it back when I get those pieces tacked in. You can see kind of what I'm doing, and then we'll weld them up. There's no real good angle or spot to put the camera. I'm not sure if it's gonna affect you guys, but there is a bunch of splatter on my lens now. So if it's all kind of hazy here and there, I apologize. I am burnt to junk, as you can see, from just slag falling down as I'm trying to weld those subframes in. So we'll just get it done so everything can get out for powder, and yeah, I'll bring you guys back in a little bit. All right, so fast forward, I saved you a little bit of the drama by watching this stuff, but here's what we did. So I have one bar here, it kind of comes backward, tilted toward the back of the car, and then I did another one that comes straight off, and it had to bend around the floor up to that smaller section. I did plate there and there. I cut this guy off here like I said I was going to. Same thing on this side. This guy comes pointed back, and then we have another little one up here that goes straight across. Another plate, and then I cut this trans mount off. So that is everything down here for the trans mount and the subframe connectors. Now what I'm going to do is put our strap back up across the bottom of the transmission pan from frame rail to frame rail, so I can pull this cross member out so it's ready to go to powder. And then we're gonna jump over to that rear end like we were talking about. I'm gonna change out my hole saw on my my little notcher because that one's pooched. But we are going to drill through these two plates. We'll get all these tubes in here tonight. And then last on the docket tonight is weld up our anti-roll bar. So that'll be all TIG. And yeah, that's where we're gonna end. So I think it's like midnight now. So I probably have 3 more hours maybe. So hopefully 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning I can get in there, get to bed, get a couple hours rest, and we're back at it tomorrow. Like I've said a million times before, hey, if you want something, you better be willing to get out there and do it. Nobody's gonna do this stuff for you. So let's get at it because time's a ticking. So we just grabbed a plasma cutter and I plasmaed a couple holes through these brackets. This is the size tubing that we're gonna use. It's the 1.25 inch, and it just barely slips through. So, there it is right there. You can see I'm probably gonna have to tap it through with a hammer. So I didn't wanna make the holes really big, because then I gotta fill it with weld, but that was the easiest way instead of trying to use a hole saw and, you know, do all that stuff. So now what we're gonna do is go and cut some tubing. I have this piece here cut already that's gonna go from the outside edge, here, let me show you. From the outside edge of this panhard bar over to the outside edge of this bracket. So we'll tap it through with the hammer. We'll level it and make sure that it's not, you know, on a 45-degree angle to the tube itself. And then we're gonna weld this one in. Next thing we're gonna do is move from this one over here to the center of the pumpkin. And then this side will be complete. And then we're gonna jump to the other side and do the same thing. Finally, we are complete. We got all the chassis fab done on this thing right here, and we're about ready to send all this stuff out for powder. As you can see, I got a big pile of parts over there. Everything for the chassis that's got to go out. Axle, panhard bar, torque arm, anti-roll bar, trans mount. All this stuff is going out. We'll get it all powdered and try and get it back. Hopefully we can beat the Christmas rush, but time will tell. Worst case scenario, the client wants to come in and gravel guard all the subframe connectors and everything that we did underneath this thing. So he'll be in here doing that. That gives me time to jump back over to the Mustang. We're gonna be running some wiring. I also got a furnace in here we need to start getting together. So it's super late. It's almost 3:30 in the morning. And yeah, I get up at 5. So it was a late night. I know I'm gonna pay for it later, but I'm all black and gross, and I'm sure you can see it on my face. But anyways, it needed to be done. I'm trying to get this stuff out for Christmas. So anyways, I appreciate you guys getting this far. We got lots of projects here in the shop. Like I said, I got a furnace, I got the truck, I got the Mustang, we got the Trans Am. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So it's not like you're gonna be short on videos. Anyways, it's Christmas Day. Really appreciate you guys spending some time with me during the holidays and whatever. Make sure you're, you know, safe and doing everything. Spend some time with your family. You never know when you're gonna see them or not see them next. Now, this video sponsor, who do we have? Of course, you know exactly who it is. MS Supply. So MS Supply sells everything. Nuts, bolts, washers, butt connectors, airline fittings, furrows, you name it, anything hardware-wise, these guys are the guys to go to. If you're local to the Detroit area, those are the guys you want to go see. Walk in, take it easy, ask Robert, hey, you know, get me hooked up, man. If you're not local, they do ship everywhere. Like I said before, they do a lot of stuff in the off-road industry, so they take care of a lot of lift kit companies and that kind of stuff. They are not, you know, opposed to shipping stuff, drop shipping, whatever. Make sure you go check those guys out. Hopefully we can save you some money. Anyways, the reason we're gonna say thank you to those guys, look at this. We got 2 big old bolt bins. We got boxes of bolts, and that's just the start. So again, thank you. Make sure you guys go check them out. And hey, we'll catch you shortly. Hopefully in a couple days with another new video on the Mustang. As always, appreciate you getting this far. And thank goodness Chassis Fab's done on that Trans Am. I mean, I like the car, but I'm ready to jump on something else, trying to change it up a bit. Mustang it is. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.